Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. We have got Scott back on the channel, first one this season as well. So, how are you doing?
Hi Dan, yeah, I'm good mate. Good, thank you. Looking forward to the match on Saturday.
I think we all are, and I think after last week, I think I don't know why, but Man United this weekend, I'm going into it quite optimistic for some reason.
Yeah, it is a funny one actually because I should have no reason whatsoever to be optimistic after last season because I think I went to all those games and didn't see us score a single goal. Well, apart from the Boxing Day one I didn't go to, but um, yeah, it was fairly depressing and I think where we are, Nottingham kind of base, that there's a lot of Man United fans that. So it's probably the same around the country, to be honest. No matter where you are, there's Man United fans everywhere. The plastics. So they're rubbing their hands together that they smashed us. So I think they're looking to kickstart their season. They'll be looking at this as, let's get a few goals past Forest and start the season. But like you say, for some reason, I don't know. It feels like a bit of a free hit. Um, you know, we didn't do very well there last year. Let's see, kind of, if we can do something a little bit like against Arsenal, and kind of hold the fort, and it's not a diabolical kind of big kick in the teeth, heavy thumping defeat. But obviously, the way Man United started then gives you a little bit of glimmer, thinking, can we do something?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you look at it, how many times we played them last season, and you look at it then, and you think, yeah, we got what we deserved. But this season more. I mean, when you look at the transfers we brought in, and especially like the Arsenal game and the Sheffield United game, we have players that came off the bench now, both games, and scored and made that impact, whereas we didn't have that last season. So it's nice that we had that summer where we could get that strength and depth that and got that bit more quality.
I think we owe them a game more than anything.
Mm.
We owe them a game because I don't think we really gave them one apart from, I think, 20 minutes in the cup at Forest when Surridge had that goal disallowed. I think apart from that, we've not really done much against them. So I don't think Man United have seen what Forest are capable of. As I say, rubbing their hands together, thinking that we're terrible, but they haven't seen what we're really made of yet. So I'm hoping that even if we lose, I just hope that we have a go. We haven't had a go yet, and it's quite come on. Let's not be kind of starstruck of being at Old Trafford. Um, and I think that was my biggest takeaway from the game at the Emirates, really, that last season, they did seem to get starstruck quite a lot at Man City, at Arsenal, at United. So fingers crossed they've got over that a little bit now. They had it last year, and now it's just a ground that they go and play football at, even though it will be special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's your takes on the transfers this summer?
I don't know. I think you just got to keep the faith really, and hope that there's a few more days left, and they get some of the players that they want. I mean, we had to wait a long time for Morgan Gibbs-White, didn't we, last year? The season already started, already played for Wolves until he came in. So obviously the lad at PSV, looks a player. But it looks like we're just gonna have to stump the money up if we want him. We're gonna have to stump it up. But he scored in the week, so against Rangers, so that's not going to help us very much. But I think the fullback is it Anya? I don't know how to pronounce
Yeah,
his name,
and
but yeah, he looks really tidy on the ball. Can't remember who else was signed. The goalkeeper looks solid enough. I won't be worrying too much about paying. Man United want 25 million for Henderson, and I think I'd say shove it. I think Henderson wants to come to us, doesn't he? He's all set on it. That's obviously he kicked off at Man United, didn't he? So that's probably why they're making life a little bit more difficult for him. But let's see how that kind of pans out a little bit. Obviously, we've just signed the Argentinian lad that I don't know too much about, to be honest. I know he scored a couple of penalties, but I don't think he's kind of been a regular starter. I don't think. But I've looked at YouTube this morning. Everybody looks a player on YouTube, but he looks a kind of like he looks quite tenacious. He likes looking. He's not. He's happy to defend, get stuck in, and then bomb up the other side of the pitch. So we'll have to see. But it'll be a shame if Aurier goes, I think, but it's probably looking inevitable. now. So I think we've done all right. I think the business is all right. I think we need a couple more players. I think definitely. Maybe somebody quick and maybe just somebody big. Ilanga looks good, direct. I've had mixed reports from him, from Man United fans, saying that, he's a bit of a one-trick pony and he loses the ball a lot, but he's made a big impact, I think, since coming for us. So at the minute, we're definitely short of somebody like that. He's just going to pick the ball up and have a run at people.
Yeah, I think it does give that's something different from what you get from Brennan and Taro. Ilanga will differ. That's something different that we probably did like last season more than out, having something different up top. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Dennis disappointed, didn't he, last year? So yeah, we need some legs, and I think obviously coming from Man United, then he's going to have that bit of confidence about him. I think some of the United fans I'd spoken to said he just lost his confidence over time there. So fingers crossed, he's come on, he's made an impact. Obviously got that assist first game, and apparently he was made an impact last Friday. I didn't see it. So yeah, I think it's been all right. Obviously, Chris Wood's got a goal, kind of early doors, which is good news. Good news for him. Obviously, I think he's part of this senior leadership at the dressing room, so he's not going to be going anywhere. I don't think so. So hopefully, if somebody come on for the last 10, 15 minutes and grab a goal with a header, then I'm all for it.
I was going to touch on about the Chris Wood thing because I know last Friday there'd been this big thing, not a big thing, but after the game saying about Chris Wood, I know a lot of fans booed and were questioning why he came on, but I even said it on a video in the week saying that Chris Wood will offer something different for me. Like, yeah, if you're not a Taro or it's not someone that like the modern day era striker, number 9, that would finish it and won. Whereas Chris Wood's got that bit of old school about him that he can offer to Forest, even if it's last 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Someone like he scored against Sheffield United, he popped one in.
Yeah, I think this. When he's fit, he didn't look particularly fit, did he? When he came last, came in January. But I think we get him a bit fitter. Then I think there's definitely room for somebody to rattle some of these, Premier League defences, because it's obviously more ball playing and not as physical as they were back in the day. So I can't see him starting, and I don't think he will start. But I think coming off the bench, offer something different where we need to go long or whatever. I think that's fine. But I think I'd still like somebody potentially in the Taiwo mould, something a little bit similar, that if he does get injured, then we've got a similar kind of player to to bring on.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing I was going to ask as well, especially, it's nice after this summer where we've not bought 19, 20 players like we have been the last couple of summers, where we've just been bringing players and we've got a new team every season. Whereas this season, we bought in, I think it's 5, 6, but we're not going crazy. Like, we actually got that core group of players that we had last season, but a couple that we need to get rid of. So it's nice to have that similar sort of team going into start the season instead of trying to mould them all together.
Yeah, I think I don't think it was ever going to be a case that we're signing that many again this summer. I think it was just a case of keeping all the ones that obviously made an impression, and we stayed up. That was the thing. So 25 players, whatever, I'm not bothered. We stayed up. So and we signed some good ones out of that that we needed to keep. So I suppose the disappointing thing with the transfers is that I guess you would have wanted those signings to have happened really early in the transfer window, so that they could have had a proper a good pre-season. But it's not it's not gone that way, and I don't think the transfer market with the Saudis, I think that slowed everything up, because I think a lot of players and agents are probably touting about for a move, and then they're getting bids in, and then a club from Saudi will swoop in, and it's coming down to money. It's an interesting time really, because it'll be interesting to see what the standard of that league looks like. Because they are signing some good players, but there was the Chinese Super League, and that never took off. But I don't think that was as maybe the amount of players that are being signed for the Saudi league. I don't think the Chinese league was like that, so it'll be interesting to see whether it becomes a rival for the Premier League, because I don't think the Premier League could compete with the wages that are being offered from the Saudis. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the Saudi league, I know there was a report the other week saying that they need trying to change it all and all that. So I think the league just didn't expect it to blow out as much as it has done this summer with all the transfers. So, but I think with the Saudi league to the Chinese league, I think the Saudi league got that bit more infrastructure in the way, whereas the Chinese league just tried to put money into it and it just exploded. That European Super League.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think it makes you kind of think, if this league does take off in Saudi Arabia, does that nudge more towards Europe having to do something bigger and better and form this Super League? So yeah, see how it works out really. But I think he's definitely been a factor. I think in terms of Forest having to remain even more patient this year. But they only need a few more, and they haven't let us down really in the last couple of years. In the transfer window, they've managed to back Steve Cooper with what he wants and have got him.
Yeah, definitely, and that is the main positive, and that Cooper knows what he wants. The board seem to know what they want, and they know now they've got this foundation in place that we've been craving for. That I mean, it's not many managers you say in the last 10, 12 years that had 2 pre-seasons at Forest. It's happened what 2 or 3 times. So it's nice just to get that consistency now with the transfers and seeing that progression that we made.
Yeah, I mean it's mad really, isn't it, to think that we've had 2 pre-seasons now under Steve Cooper, that we've not had that for a while. I suppose you just don't want to lose anybody of any significance. I think that's the only worry going down to the last few days. Ideally, you want to keep Brennan, but if they get good money for him, we've got to balance the books, I guess, and we can go and spend on somebody else. But the more that time's whittling it down, what we don't want to do is sell him last minute and we haven't got a replacement. So I think that's the worry. There's quite a lot of fringe players. Lewis O'Brien, will he go? Dennis, there's a few more knocking around that they probably could do with shifting. To be honest, so it wouldn't be a surprise because they are good players and they're too good to be, not even involved in a match day squad. So you would think that Championship teams will be looking to pick them up, and there'd be good signings for Championship teams. So it'll be interesting to see, what it looks like with who's gone out the door as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what sort of team would you play on against Man U? I mean, we seem to have this settled sort of 11 at the minute. I mean, who would you
Yeah,
say?
I don't think there's any need to change it. I think obviously what started last week is good to go. Yeah, whether Yatesy comes in, I'm not sure. But I think, let's have a bit of a go at Man United. It's just a bit disappointing that Mason Mount's injured, because I was just, their midfield, who was saying there's just gaps all over the place. But whether they'll, become a little bit more solid now. I don't know what happened to Scott McTominay. I don't know whether he left or not, but he's a good player, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was back in. It would definitely cause me more of a headache than Mason Mount.
I think Ten Hag wants to get rid of him. They say about
Mm.
Maguire, but they're trying everything not to play them two, and apparently it's really bad. But yeah, I agree more. McTominay is that sort of player that you love to have in your team.
Yeah, but you've got people like Bruno Fernandes, and Rashford. They can turn it on, can't they, when they want to? Anthony, they'll be rubbing their hands together, thinking we're up against Forest. So let's just hope we can cause a bit of an upset.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the positives I did take from last week, when with the Sheffield United game, that we had that 10-15 minute spell where Sheffield United was on top and Forest couldn't get a grip of it like they didn't in the playoffs. But bringing Yatesy on, bringing Ilanga on, just changed the game completely. Just turned it back into hard thingy. Like Yatesy just got involved in that midfield and just got things going again, which was quite nice. And to have all three of them, Yatesy, Danilo, Mangali, who you can play two of them with everyone coming on, it gives you that confidence like we used to when we had Yatesy, and Colback. You could play either of them in there and they do the job.
I think it's just really important that they've got that first year of experience under the belts now, where that the game at Arsenal, the game at Sheffield United, potentially would have lost that first game really heavily. Last week, would they have got a draw, even lost the game? But I think it's just that year under the belt now, just give them a bit more experience, not to panic, just to kind of keep things tight and try and get yourself back in the game with an opportunity. So, it was so pleasing last week to have won that. That's a big win. I think the teams that have come up this year are not as strong as the teams that came up the year before. So beating the teams that have come up is just even more crucial this year. That we try to put a bit of daylight. So taking 3 points off Sheffield United, that's a big win for me.
Yeah, I was thinking that the other day actually. Cause I seen quite a lot of I seen a tweet somewhere, and I thought to myself like, if there's one game that you want to win this season, that probably be your toughest game all season, be Sheffield United. Just not because of you get your top six and all that, but Sheffield United, it's a lot more. It'd be a lot more tougher game than playing the top six or top 10, as you say.
Yeah, well, there's a rivalry there, isn't there, as well? So
Yeah.
it almost becomes a bit of a derby. But they did ever so well against the top teams last year. To be asking to beat Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool all at home this year is kind of like, that's a huge ask, isn't it? So, I think a really good start, at home to beat them, and just hopefully they carry some momentum into the game on Saturday and they have a go.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got a score prediction?
Oh God. I'll go. I'm going to go Forest 2-1. Optimistic.
I said 2-1 all last week. I said 2-1, and said 2-1 got to be the lucky score again.
Yeah, free it. Just put in a performance. But if we can pick a draw up, it'd be amazing. To get a win would just be unreal.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to say about your socials?
Yeah, you can follow me on Munich and Madrid on Twitter.
Yeah. So do follow Scott on it. Thank you for coming on as per usual.
Nice one, Dan. Anytime, mate.
No worries. So thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.